In 1994, a programmer walked into a C++ standards meeting with a program that wasn't supposed to exist. It didn't compile. It was never meant to compile. It failed on purpose. And when the compiler choked and spat out its error messages, the errors were printing prime numbers, in order. Nobody built C++ templates to compute anything. They were a convenience feature, a shortcut. That accident turned into an entire style of programming, one that's still shipping in the software you use every day. This is how code learned to write code. His name was Erwin Unruh. The place was a meeting of the C++ Standardization Committee, and the thing he handed around was maybe a dozen lines of code that most people in that room would have sworn was impossible. Here's the trick. The program asks the compiler a question. Is this number prime? And it does it entirely while the code is being compiled before the program ever runs. In fact, the program never runs at all. Unruh wrote it so that every time the compiler found a prime, it hit a line it couldn't accept and complained on purpose. So the list of complaints, the error log, became the output. The primes came out as compiler errors. Think about how strange that is. The answer to a math problem, delivered not by the program but by the compiler failing to build it. Because to print those primes in the right order, the compiler had to actually do the work. Loop, branch, recurse, decide. And that raised a much bigger question than, is this a neat trick? If the C++ compiler could compute prime numbers just by following the rules for templates, what else could it compute? It took years for people to actually prove it, but the answer turned out to be anything. The template system was Turing complete, a full programming language hiding inside another programming language that nobody had sat down and designed. It was discovered, not invented. So put the 1994 party trick aside. Because the moment people realized the compiler could run programs, they started using it for something genuinely useful. That's what template metaprogramming is today. Here's the normal picture. You write code, the compiler turns it into a binary. Then later, the binary runs and does the work. Two separate moments in time. Template metaprogramming smuggles work backward, out of that second moment and into the first. You get the compiler to do the heavy lifting before the program is even finished being built. Say you write one generic container or one generic function, you write it once, but you use it with integers and doubles and your own custom types. The compiler doesn't reuse a single vague version. It writes a fresh, specialized copy of that code for every type you actually used, tailored, optimized, exact. That's the phrase, code that writes code. You are not writing the final program. You're writing instructions for the compiler to generate the final program. Factorial of 5 here isn't calculated when the app runs. By the time your app runs, it's already just the number 120 baked in. The multiplication happened at your desk, not on the user's machine. And that's the whole prize. Runtime cost. As close to zero as it gets. The work is real, but it's paid before shipping, by the compiler, once, instead of by every user, every time the program runs. This is why libraries like Eigen, the C++ math library that a huge slice of the scientific and machine learning world runs on, can multiply matrices about as fast as hand-tuned assembly. The compiler specializes the math for the exact types and sizes you're using before your program ever runs. There's no generic fallback doing extra bookkeeping in the background. There's no vague one-size-fits-all routine that has to guess. Just the precise code your specific problem needs, generated for you, then compiled straight down to the metal. It's not academic. It's the difference between code that's fast in theory and code that's fast on your actual machine. The one running your browser, your game engine, the trading system deciding a price in microseconds. And here's the strange part. Nobody designed this to be this powerful. It grew out of that 1994 accident. And for 30 years, nobody tried to rebuild it from scratch differently. Now here's the part the fans don't put on the brochure. This power has a price, and the price is brutal. Get one thing slightly wrong in a template, and the compiler doesn't hand you a friendly one-line error. It hands you a wall, sometimes hundreds of lines for a single mistake. Developers trade screenshots of the worst ones like war stories, and to actually control this language inside a language, you have to learn techniques with names that sound like threats, SFINAE, tag dispatching, partial specialization. Each one is a workaround for the fact that templates were never designed to be programmed in. They were discovered to be programmable in. You're bending a feature far past its original intent. Macro Lens runs on viewers, not ads. The Patreon link's in the description. So the honest scorecard reads like this. On one side, real measurable power, zero overhead abstractions, code specialized so tightly the compiler can optimize it into almost nothing. On the other side, a syntax that takes years to read fluently, errors that bury the actual problem, and a mental model most working programmers quietly avoid. It's a masterpiece with a learning curve like a cliff, For 30 years, that was just the deal. If you wanted the compiler to write code for you, this was the toll you paid. Everyone agreed it was too complicated. Almost nobody thought it could be any other way. Almost nobody. Because 30 years after Unruh passed that program around a committee table, a new systems language looked at this exact problem. How do you get the compiler to generate specialized code before the program runs, and refused to accept the toll? No templates, no macros, no second cryptic language bolted onto the side of the first one, with its own rules you have to learn separately. Instead, and this is the part that sounds almost too simple, you write the compile time code in the same language you already use for everything else. The ordinary language you know. Just running at an earlier moment, before the final program exists. Same syntax, same rules. The compiler runs it, generates your specialized code, and the walls of error messages. They mostly stop happening because there's no strange second language to get wrong. If that's real, it doesn't just make template metaprogramming easier. It deletes the reason template metaprogramming had to be so painful in the first place. It attacks the problem at the root instead of decorating it with more workarounds. Which raises the obvious question, the one this whole story has been circling. How do you take everything we just watched, C++, do the hard way, and make it feel like writing normal code? That language is Zig. And the answer is a single keyword, comp team. The next video breaks down exactly how it works, how one idea replaces templates, replaces macros, and takes the 30-year-old problem you just saw and dissolves it, not patches it, deletes it. It's called How Zig Deleted Macros and C++ Templates. If watching a compiler print prime numbers through error messages was the strange beginning of this story, the clean ending is one click away. Go watch it.